So what can a, let's say, morally flexible lawyer teach us about sales? Well, it turns out, pretty much everything. Today, we're going to break down an absolute masterclass in marketing and sales from one of the best shows on TV, Better Call Saul. You are about to see how one single scene can give you a perfect blueprint for building a business from, well, basically nothing.
This is it, right? This is the question that keeps so many entrepreneurs up at night. You've built a product, you've got inventory, but nobody's buying. There's no demand, no interest, just crickets. It's a classic business killer. But what if the answer isn't to just scrap the whole thing, but to completely rethink who you're selling it to?
And that's where our unconventional mentor for the day comes in, Jimmy McGill. He's a lawyer who's been disbarred, so he's stuck in this absolutely soul-crushing job at a cell phone store. But you've got to watch closely because what he does next is a masterclass in creating customers out of thin air.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Part 1 starts with a problem that I'm sure a lot of us can relate to. We're calling it a store without customers.
I mean, this is the nightmare scenario, isn't it? Jimmy is sitting in a perfectly fine store, stocked with perfectly fine cell phones, and literally no one is walking through the door. The product is a commodity, and the market, for all intents and purposes, just doesn't care.
And get this is the attitude he is up against. His own boss has totally accepted failure. The advice he gets is to just bring a book and wait around. This is the definition of a business that's just given up. They're not trying to create customers, they're just waiting.
But Jimmy McGill is not the kind of guy who brings a book. No, he rewrites the entire book. And that brings us to part 2, the absolute turning point in this story, the pivot. What he does here is, honestly, it's a stroke of genius.
Okay, this is where the magic happens. Jimmy has this huge realization. The mistake everyone's making is trying to sell the what, the phone, the tech, the data plan. So he makes this incredible shift. He doesn't change the product one bit, not at all. Instead, he changes the problem the product solves. He stops selling cell phones and starts selling anonymity. He's not selling data plans, he's selling peace of mind. He's not in the convenience business anymore, he's in the protection business.
He literally paints this on the store window. And this sign is just brilliant because it acts as a filter. It pushes away the average person looking for a normal phone, but it's like a giant magnet for a completely new type of customer, someone with a very specific, urgent problem that a normal cell phone store could never ever solve.
And just like that, it works. The hook is in the water and he gets a bite. A customer walks in. This leads us to part 3, where we get to see a step-by-step breakdown of what might just be the perfect sales pitch.
Let's just walk through this. Step 1, scarcity. The second the guy walks in, Jimmy fakes a phone call, making it seem like these phones are flying off the shelves. This isn't just a phone anymore, it's a hot item. Step 2, educate the problem. He doesn't just say you need privacy. He makes the customer feel it. He vaguely mentions the man and lets the customer's imagination fill in the blanks with the IRS. He makes the fear personal. Step 3, name the solution. This is so smart. He gives it this official-sounding name, information hygiene. Suddenly, this isn't some shady back alley deal. It's a legitimate, sophisticated service. And only then, after all that groundwork, does he get to step 4 and make the offer. A simple, untraceable, cash-only phone. It's just masterful.
You know, what Jimmy just did is a perfect real-world example of a marketing concept called positioning. It's all about the specific space you own in a customer's mind. Think about it. He's no longer that cell phone store down the street. In his new customer's mind, he is the only person who sells privacy. He's not competing with anyone. He's created a category of one.
But of course, Jimmy's plan hits a bit of a snag. See, he has the perfect product and the perfect pitch, but he finds out pretty fast it's not always enough. And that brings us to part 4, dressing for the customer.
So Jimmy tries to take his new business on the road, and bam, he just hits a brick wall. He approaches a group of guys who look like his ideal customers, but because he's still dressed like a lawyer in a suit, they immediately shut him down. They think he's a narc, an undercover cop. The problem here was a complete and total disconnect. His personal brand, his whole vibe, was screaming authority, the man. It completely clashed with his product's promise of anonymity and privacy. To the very people he was trying to sell to, he looked exactly like the people they were trying to hide from.
So what does he do? He transforms. He ditches that stuffy lawyer suit and adopts his now famous flashy tracksuit. Now he looks like one of them.
And just as importantly, he stops waiting for them to come to the store. He goes out to where they are, bringing the product directly to them and making it ridiculously easy to buy. He's removing all the friction.
Okay, so now with the product, the pitch, and his persona all perfectly aligned, Jimmy is ready for the final and most brilliant part of his strategy. This is where he stops chasing individual customers and finds a huge, completely untapped market. This is where he finds his blue ocean. He zeroes in on a group with a massive, specific, and super urgent need for what he's selling, a biker gang. But pay attention to how he approaches them. It is not a hard sell. It's not a pitch at all, really. It's empathy. It's showing a deep understanding of their world.
This one line says it all. He's showing them, I get it, I know your world. He uses his background as a lawyer to connect, highlighting a major pain point that they feel every single day: how hard it is to have a private conversation with friends or family who are in prison. He's speaking their language. And what he's doing right here is the absolute textbook definition of what's called a blue ocean strategy. See, instead of fighting in that crowded, bloody red ocean where all the other cell phone stores are battling over the same customers, he just sailed off to a completely new, uncontested blue ocean. In this new market that he basically invented, he has zero competitors. They're not just beaten, they're completely irrelevant.
The difference here is just fundamental. Most businesses are stuck in a red ocean, fighting like crazy for their little slice of an existing pie. The whole idea of a blue ocean strategy is to just go bake a completely new pie. And that is exactly what Jimmy did. He didn't just find new customers, he created an entirely new demand for privacy phones, a market that he now completely owns.
So look, if you take just one thing away from all of this, let it be this right here. If you're struggling to sell something, don't automatically assume your product is the problem. It might be your positioning, it might be your message, or it might be that you're just fishing in the wrong ocean entirely. And that really leaves us with one final question to think about. If you just change your perspective, not your product, where is that uncontested market space, that blue ocean that's waiting out there for you?